Redirected aggression in cats can be confusing because it can seem like it comes out of nowhere. Let's go over some signs that your cat is experiencing redirected aggression, ways to prevent it, and what to do if it happens. Before we go any further, a quick disclaimer. This video is not meant to replace individualized, personalized veterinary or behavior advice. A cat biting or scratching you or another animal can result in serious injury or infection. If you get bitten or scratched by your cat or someone else does, you need to seek immediate medical care. Disclaimer out of the way. Let's make sure we're on the same page about what redirected aggression in cats is. First, aggression is a vague term, so when I'm discussing it today, I'm talking about biting or scratching another living being, usually a human, but it could also be another cat or animal. Displaced aggression, which is the same thing as redirected aggression, just with a different name, means that your cat is feeling some sort of not so great way. Usually it's out of frustration or fear, and they can't get to the source of the stress to do something about it. It can also occur when a cat is in such a high state of arousal that they aggress towards another human or another animal in the home. The key for it to be redirected aggression is that it needs to be towards something that's not the source of stress. To help you identify redirected aggression in your cat, let's talk about you for a moment. In some ways, it's the feline equivalent of yelling at your coworker because someone cut you off in traffic on the way to work. Please don't actually do that, but in some ways, it's a form of redirected aggression. Unless it was actually your coworker who cut you off, in which case, I'm not saying you shouldn't accidentally throw out their lunch, but I'm also not condemning it. Either way, that wouldn't be redirected aggression because your coworker was actually the one who cut you off. They're the source of your frustration. Back to cats though, because no offense, but cats are cuter than you are. One of the keys to identifying redirected aggression is that there needs to be some sort of trigger. Now, before you say that you can't identify a trigger for your cat, so it's definitely not redirected aggression, are you sure? Are you aware of every single thing that your cat does or sees or smells all day, every day, including while you're sleeping? The answer is clearly no. And if it is yes, then you probably need to find a hobby. Let's talk about knitting. Actually, let's not talk about knitting. We're talking about cats. I'm going to give you an example of a case that I worked on with all identifying information removed that also has a fantastic example of a solution for how to figure out if your cat may be experiencing redirected aggression. I was hired to help with seemingly random biting episodes that the only trigger that they could identify was location-based. The cat was aggressing near the front door or in an entryway or on stairs that happened to also be near the front door. Clearly there was something going on near the entrance to their home. It wasn't in response to the door opening, just the cat going near that area. It would still happen in other locations though, and wasn't consistent. I had them show me the front door, and the cat happened to walk up during that time. As the cat went to the door, the cat gave a quick sniff, and then he made a face kind of like this. Well, it may look like the cat is spooked, or I was spooked, but me pretending to be a cat. That response is something called the Flehmen response. It means that a cat sniffed some pheromones, which are chemical signals that are produced by special glands in a cat's body that provide information to other cats about that cat, and he was reacting to them. So there was clearly a cat coming by and visiting. My client didn't think that there were any cats that came by outside, and I had already asked about that, and they said, no, we don't really think so. But that response is pretty distinct. They agreed to set up a camera with night vision and motion detection based on that, and a few days later, I got an email that an orange friend was visiting and spraying all over the wall right in front of their home. The reason we figured it out was because of the camera. If your cat is randomly biting you and you've ruled out other causes, because this isn't the most common reason for redirected aggression, but it does happen not infrequently, and I do see it fairly regularly, getting a camera and having it film outside is worth doing. Cats may come by when you're asleep or not home or busy or watching a really amazing YouTube video on cat behavior. Hey, the cat may be there only when you're not there, or they may be in places that you can't see. Otherwise, you'll have a bunch of footage that you need to go through that isn't necessarily going to help, and you may not even be able to see anything. It might just be black. If you do get a camera, getting one that has night vision, motion detection, and can record is important. In some cases, the cause is just a little bit more clear. If your cat has aggressive behavior after seeing a new cat that they don't get along with, or when laser focused on the shady birds outside, it may be redirected aggression. It's also more likely to be displaced aggression if it happens when the target of the aggressive behavior is near the cat. Usually with redirected aggression, the cat is going to aggress towards whichever unfortunate soul happens to be closest. That might be you. Okay, so we've identified this as redirected aggression. Now what? Prevention is the best thing that you can do, but sometimes you may not be able to prevent it entirely. So we'll talk about what to do in a moment. Depending on what the trigger for the redirected aggression is, completely blocking your cat from seeing the trigger is the best solution. This may mean blocking off under a door so the cat can't see another cat during an introduction, or it might mean closing a window shade. Another great tool that I actually use on my windows is a static cling window film that helps prevent a cat from seeing the trigger while still letting some light in. There are some really cool decorative ones available. I use mine above a window perch because it blocks me from fully being able to close my blinds. And honestly, my priority is my cat's well-being and being able to lounge wherever they want. The only downside to this is that your cat won't be able to see outside. But if they're becoming frustrated, it may be the less stressful choice. Minimizing stress and fear in other situations can also prevent the cat from becoming overwhelmed and may help prevent some cases of redirected aggression if there's a mixed cause. Things like getting a cat carrier trained and used to going to the vet and finding a veterinarian that's fear-free or low-stress handling certified is a great idea. That way, your cat will feel less aroused in those situations and they'll be less likely to take it out on whoever happens to be nearest to them, which usually is going to be your vet or one of the poor, unfortunate vet techs. Veterinarians and vet techs that have extensive backgrounds in behavior and extra training and certifications often can be better at dealing with these cats in a kind, lower stress way, which will ultimately make the problem less bad. The one thing you absolutely want to avoid is anything that increases arousal. Scaring or startling your cat may temporarily interrupt the behavior, but it's going to make them more anxious,
Uh-oh.
more stressed,
That's
and it
bad.
could increase the aggressive behavior.
Nope.
It may also increase fear long term, and you'll have more work to do later. You can, however, use a toy to redirect a cat, especially a frustrated cat, towards that toy if they're becoming overwhelmed, for example, by the birds outside. This allows them to satisfy their need to hunt that all cats have. Actually, playing with your cat in short bursts for a couple of minutes a few times a day can be a really good preventative solution. If your cat is frustrated out of boredom, it will help make it more likely that they will not get to the point where they feel like they need to aggress. If you do notice a pattern, such as time of day or place or a piece of body language that your cat is displaying before they aggress, don't ignore that information. That information can help you come up with a solution, or if you're working with a professional, it can help them figure out what's going on. For example, if your cat tends to puff out their tail before they bite, if you notice their tail gets huge, stay back. If you need to go near your cat for some reason, and really you should only do this if it's absolutely necessary, have something to physically block them so that they can't get to you. Think of a shield of some kind. A flattened cardboard box is a great solution to this. Chances are if you're ordering things off the internet anyway, you probably at some point will get a large box, so it's pretty easy to repurpose that. These are easy to store behind furniture too. If your cat is still aggressing, you may need to consider something more advanced. A desensitization protocol may help the cat react less, and your veterinarian may consider a behavioral medication. Those are both something that you'd need a little bit of help with because the risk of an aggressive behavior is high in those situations. So set up an appointment with your vet or a qualified behavior consultant if you want to go over how to successfully do one of those or talk about medications. Redirected or displaced aggression can be really scary. It risks not only your safety, but the safety of your cat or anyone who may be unfortunate enough to cross their path at the wrong time. It's not hopeless, though, if you know what you're doing. Good luck and stay safe.